What up, what up, what's going on, folks? Welcome to episode number 33, El Ajo y Cao. Episode number 33 of the Spun Today podcast. I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Thank you very much for listening. This episode is another free writing session episode of the podcast, and hope you guys enjoy it. I'm gonna speak about a few things in the intro, which will include, but not limited to, the Mets and fucking disappointment. The Sacred Science documentary that I saw recently, Chinatown, the movie that I saw recently, a couple of entries from the Tao Te Ching that I'm reading right now that I wanted to share with you guys that resonated with me. Making my niece's birthday cake for her first birthday, and just her whole Halloween themed birthday party experience, which is pretty cool. A cool new YouTube channel that I stumbled upon that you guys might enjoy, and some new pictures that I took recently using my camera. Obviously though, right? Like, what the fuck else do you take pictures with? But I mean my actual like camera, photography camera, not just like cell phone pics or whatever. And it will be followed by a couple free writing posts located at spuntoday.com/freewriting, and that I'm gonna pretty much read to you guys and reflect on. And they are actually a couple of more recent posts, recent pieces that I wrote a couple days ago, actually, that I liked and wanted to share with you guys. In previous episodes, I read usually older stuff that I haven't seen in a while, and this time I decided to switch it up a little bit and give you guys something a little fresher. All right, so the fucking Mets, man, they finally made it to the World Series since 2000, and fuck, man, they were doing so well throughout the entire postseason. And they were so on point. They had like that it factor going for them. Had fucking Queens and the rest of New York fans that weren't fucking Yankee fans gassed basically. And they did well, man, in the World Series. I mean, they lost 4-1, but at least I think three of those games, the first game, was the first game? Yeah, the first game in Kansas City, the second game in Kansas City, I think it was, they should have won. They just fell apart at the end. Same thing with the first or second game. No, they won the first game at home, lost the second game at home, and that was another one that they fucked up. That was like Murphy's error, fielding error. And Familia fucked up with closing the game out in that game and the one before and the last one also, which I don't know what the hell happened. He's so clutch, he comes in to finish the game, and I don't know, Kansas City, I mean, give it up to them. They were just fucking hitting everything and anything, and literally in the 8th and 9th innings, just coming back to either tie it, to push it to extra innings, and then our bullpen wasn't enough for the way Kansas City was hitting and shit like that. So I don't know, it fucking sucked, but whatever. It was pretty cool to see them in the World Series. And it would have been nice to see them go all the way, but they didn't. So hats off to Kansas City and all their fans out there. It's been fucking 30 years since they won a World Series, and 29 for us, so don't feel too bad for them. And they definitely deserve it. They went to the World Series last year against San Francisco and they lost. So this year they got to pretty much redeem themselves, which is pretty cool. That's a pretty cool story, I guess. Wouldn't have been as cool as if the Mets would have won, but whatever, right? And let's see, aside from that, I wanted to tell you guys about this cool documentary that I saw. I found interesting. It's called, The Sacred Science documentary, and I stumbled upon it because of a website that I read every once in a while called reset.me. Reset.me. And what that website is, and I'll read you guys like the little about me description here, is Reset.me provides accurate journalism on natural therapies and medicines to enhance the mind, body, and spirit. Reset strives to help expand consciousness and spread more love around the world. The team behind Reset.me endeavors to build a community that connects like-minded individuals worldwide to promote the sharing of knowledge and experiences. Reset your mind, reset your life. And the way this, and just to give you an idea of like I'll read you guys a couple of the headline articles here, or like top stories or whatever. There's one here called "Psilocybin Switches Off Part of Brain That Causes Depression. 15 Natural Remedies for the Treatment of Acid Reflux and Ulcers." New book explains marijuana laws for every U.S. state. Let's see, a couple more here. New Canadian Prime Minister promises to legalize marijuana. Another one here is what to do about cancer, diagnosis, treatment, and survival. Another one is how a schizophrenic drug addict reclaimed his life with iboga. Keep your brain sharp for life with healthy oils like coconut oil and extra virgin olive oil, like stuff like that, whatever. Guys, check it out if you want to. Reset.me. The interesting, like this, like site and this whole, I guess like movement you can call it, came about from Amber Lyon, which was a CNN journalist and reporter. 3-time Emmy Award-winning journalist, actually, for CNN, who pretty much got fired for like stumbling upon and then revealing to the public that CNN was like taking not bribes is not the right word, but well, I guess it's kind of like window dressed or whatever, but kind of boils down to being like kind of like a bribe or whatever. It was monetarily influenced by certain like Middle Eastern countries with they would like pay money for like ads and like commercial space or something like that, and to try to like skew the types of pieces that would come out about certain countries. And she was suggesting that sensationalism and hype and just like pretty much propaganda was being used to push America into war with Iran and stuff like that. And you guys could read a bunch of articles on this stuff. I recommend where I first heard of her was on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and they had like a 3-hour conversation about all this shit. Obviously, hear from the horse's mouth and see what you guys think about it. But whatever, she pretty much went from that, getting fired from there, having a conversation with Rogan, who mentioned I think it was ayahuasca to her, and she had never heard of it or whatever. She wound up taking a trip to the jungle and trying ayahuasca, and completely changed and transformed her life. And now she's a fucking like a missionary for fucking all this type of like plant healing and like stuff like that. So her site was promoting this documentary, which I think you could still see for free. They gave like everybody who signs up to their like newsletter or whatever on the site a free preview or whatever of the movie, and not preview, a free screening of the movie. So decided to see it, and you guys could check it out at thesacredscience.com. I think it's still free, depending on when you hear this podcast episode. But check it out. It's pretty interesting shit. I'm just going to read you guys straight from the website here of thesacredscience.com. And I'll put a link, obviously, in the episode notes for this episode, so that you guys can visit it. You don't have to write it down or anything. Just check out the episode notes later on, and there's a link to the Sacred Science documentary. And this is what it's about. Even though there is documented proof that these jungle medicines are extremely effective, the research and patenting process takes so long that most of us will not live to see them used here in the modern world. That's where my team and I drew the line. We decided to take action. After a ton of preparation and research, we decided to bring 8 people with 8 different illnesses deep into the Amazon rainforest to work with indigenous healers for 30 days. Once we put the word out to the public, we quickly had over 400 applications from people around the world, each desperate to find an answer to their illness. The patients we chose were suffering from the following illnesses: Parkinson's disease, breast cancer, Crohn's disease, diabetes, depression, prostate cancer, neuroendocrine cancer, IBS, which is what, irritable bowel syndrome, and more. I won't spoil the ending, but we'll say this: the healing breakthroughs in this film will surprise you, blah, blah, blah. It says here, our mission is to bring this ancient healing knowledge to the people who need it most, while at the same time honoring the indigenous communities that still hold this sacred healing wisdom. The regions of the world where this medicine still exists are being destroyed at an alarming pace, and these tribes need all the support that they can get. So that's what it's about. It was a pretty interesting watch. I think it's like an hour long, maybe a little bit more. And you see these 8 people that they took into the jungle. You know, some of them, you know, wig out, and some of them just take to the situation, the surrounding. You know, being smack in the middle of the jungle, no technology, no nothing, in like little huts with fucking insects and stuff like that all over the place, and like bland food, and just going through these like natural medicines and treatments and meditations, and you know, the whole nine. And you get to, you know, follow them through that process. Some of them claim to have had like great success with it. So, you know, there was a doctor that would come every so often throughout the 30 days and like measure their levels. Like one of the guys that had diabetes, supposedly his diabetes disappeared within like 2 weeks, and he was like really uncomfortable there because of like the whole insect thing and stuff like that, and he bounced after that. And then they showed like follow-up reports of after people left and met with their personal doctors, and you know, posted that stuff and stuff like that. I mean, take it with a grain of salt, obviously, but I enjoy seeing things that I guess show the possibility of other options that are out there for stuff, you know, stuff like this. I don't think that any one entity, you know, being, you know, whether large pharma or whoever, have all the answers to all the ailments that we have. Obviously they don't. People die every day of a lot of different shit. People suffer from a lot of different things. And there's like an insane amount of like a really high percentage. I don't know what it is, but I know it's, when I heard it, I was like, what? It can't be that much. It was like 75, 80, 90% or something like that of like medicines derived from and like real, like approved for, not real, like chemical fucking pharmaceutical drugs and like mainstream shit come from derivatives of like certain plants and roots and shit like that that's found in jungles like this, like the Amazon and stuff. So and there's another stat that says that we've been able to go through or discover or research, I think like 15% of the different types of like plant life that are in the jungle. So it's like just an immense amount of like possibilities and stuff like that. And you know, there's different cultures, different ancient rituals and stuff like that that believe completely different things than than we do, like Western medicine and culture and stuff like that. And why not give them a shot? You know, why not look into them? Why not, you know, just see what they have to offer? You know, if there's an ounce of truth in any of the like these 8 people that went through this journey, it's something worth shedding a light on. You know, if people that, like, just like this lady Amber Lyon that started the whole Reset.me, you know, website, that was going through like deep depression after getting fired from CNN and like all that stuff, and her life was going through a tailspin, and, you know, had a couple of ayahuasca experiences and completely turned her life around and shit like that. Like, I don't know, I just find it interesting. There's other shit out there, and I applaud people like this that you know, do documentaries and write articles and research this stuff and bring it to us. And like I said, you guys can check that out at thesacredscience.com. And again, Amber Lyon's website is reset.me, and I'm pretty sure she has a podcast also, probably called the same thing, reset.me or reset me or something like that. You guys can check that out as well. What else? I recently saw the movie Chinatown, which was one of Jack Nicholson's first movies, and it was a really good movie. Roman, what's his name? Roman Polanski or something like that, directed it, and he's a sick fuck. He has like a sick story, right? Which I had heard of it before, and then when I saw the name, I like Googled him, just to see again. But he's like a decorated director, writer, and he directed this movie. He also, I'm trying to think of what other ones he did. There's like another like big movie or two. I googled him. Roman Polanski. Bear with me, guys. I'm just checking it out so I can tell you guys what he's done. He won Academy Award for Best Foreign Film. He's won 5 Oscars. Done a lot of shit, this motherfucker. And he does it. I forgot about this part of the story. His wife was murdered by members of the Manson family. That has to be some fucking sick, traumatic shit. Let's see. He did Rosemary's Baby, The Tenant, Chinatown, obviously, which I just mentioned. The Pianist. Oliver Twist in 2005. So he's done a lot of shit, right? He fucking raped like a 13-year-old girl or some sick shit like that, and then wound up fleeing to France, or I think France. Whatever, I closed it out. He fled the country after that, basically, and to a country that has no extradition, and he's been, you know, just continuing to do movies and shit ever since. And, you know, apologize for what he did, you know, 20 or 30 years ago, that was. But just fucking sick, twisted story from his wife getting murdered by Manson's family and then raping a little girl and fucking just running away to another country, apologizing and just living his life. It's fucking weird, fucking sick laws that we have in this world. Let's see. So yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I wanted to see it because it's been mentioned to be a good movie, but the main reason why I wanted to see it is because I was reading a few like I don't know, posts or I don't know what you would call it, but like lists of top 10 not top 10, of top screenplays of all time. And Chinatown was like number one on pretty much all of them. And I wanted to check out the movie. I downloaded the screenplay to actually read it and, you know, see how it was written and stuff, and you know, just take a look at it. But the movie was pretty good. I liked it. It had like really interesting twists in it, and I enjoyed watching it. So I'm gonna read the screenplay now. Probably should have read it before watching the movie, but I want to read it, see what all the fuss is about, and see what I can learn from it. If you guys Google, you know, Chinatown screenplay, it's readily available and downloadable online. The original screenplay, which again was written by Robert Towne in like 1974, if I'm not mistaken, was the third draft of the screenplay. And let's see. My niece's first birthday party. Time flies. She's already 1 year old. It was this past weekend. We celebrated like a Halloween birthday party for her. There was like a shitload of little kids in costumes, you know, having fun, having a great time. I made her cake. I like baking, and not that I do it too well, but I enjoy doing it. And my brother and his girl asked me if I could, and I did. And I thought the cake came out pretty dope, actually. Like the decoration of it. Took forever to do because it was like a monster theme birthday party, and I wanted to make the cake look like a monster, you know, like it wound up looking like a Muppet Baby type of like monster or whatever. And I found a cool YouTube video that showed how to use that. I don't know what the thing is called, that squeezing thing that you put like the icing on, and how to use that to make like little strands that look like hair, you know, like a monster hair or whatever. And yeah, it fucking took forever to do, but it was well worth it. It came out pretty dope. The party was awesome, and obviously she's not gonna remember any of it because she's 1 year old, but you know, she'll be able to look back on all the pictures and see everything that was done for her and appreciate it, you know, in the future when she gets a little bit older. And all the other kids had a blast too, which is the important part. So that was really cool. I found a YouTube channel that I stumbled upon, which is pretty dope. I also put a link to it in the episode notes if you guys want to check that out. And it's the YouTube channel is from Evan Carmichael, and what he does is he I think he has like different, I guess not episodes, but different video themes. The one that I watched a bunch of was Top 10 Rules for Success. And what he does is that he takes different people like Will Smith, Kobe Bryant, Eminem, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, and Oprah, a shitload of people, and all the successful people that you could think of. And he, from different interviews that they've had, different things that they've said, he strings together like a top 10 list that he himself like compiles based on, you know, these different interviews and like stuff like that. And he names them the top 10 rules for success of each of these individual people. So there's the top 10 of Will Smith's rules, the top 10 of Eminem's rules, top 10 of Michael Jordan's rules, like stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. Each one is probably like 10 to 15, 20 minutes long. He had a Jackie Chan one, Bruce Lee, anybody you could think of. And Arnold Schwarzenegger. and it's pretty dope. And he, it shows like them, like he lists them out like on the left hand side, like one by one as they come up, and he shows clips of the different interviews of the actual people. So you see like them speaking about it, and it's pretty dope. I recommend it. Check it out if you like stuff like that. I do. And it's interesting to see the common denominators between all of these, different brilliant like minds, and try to take from that and learn from it, and incorporate it into yourself, and try to like emulate it in some sense. And just from like an observatory level, just to see what traits like they have in common. And amongst the most common were do what you love. It sounds like cliche and stuff, but if you hear them like get into it and explain it and stuff like that, it helps resonate. It helps make it sound like not just like a topical thing, like, oh, do what you love. Listen to it, and you'll see what I'm talking about, hopefully. But it was do what you love, work hard, and what else? I think those were two of the main ones that stood out the most. Just like not giving up and just busting your ass and working hard and being consistent and finding and doing something that you love and really enjoy doing. Two of my favorites were Will Smith's and Kobe Bryant's. Both were super dope. Will Smith's made me cry like a little bitch at the end of it, just because they, like, one of the top 10s they said was be great at what you do, and they show like a super powerful scene that I remember used to make me choke up and shit when I used to see it on The Fresh Prince. It was an episode with his father, when his father comes, and his like biological father, and then he leaves him again at the end, and he starts crying and shit and telling Uncle Phil like how come he doesn't want me and stuff like that. And it's a powerful scene, and you just seen that scene, like what a dope actor he was already, and obviously continued to be. And that one was a really good one. Will Smith's, and Kobe Bryant's was just excellent. I recommend it a lot. But all of them were really good. So check that out. Again, the YouTube channel is Evan Carmichael, spelled Carmichael. And I gotta check out the rest of them. The rest of the different like video themes that he has. And I believe the channel is called Evan Carmichael. If not, it's called Modeling the Masters. One of the two, because that's the YouTube link that I put in the episode notes, Modeling the Masters. But yeah, check it out and let me know what you guys think. So the other day I took off from work, and you get like a certain number of days to take off in the year, and well, at least for me, if I don't use them, I lose them type of deal. So just gotta take like random days towards the end of the year of days that I hadn't taken yet, and I take a day off just to chill, relax, nothing really planned, run errands and shit like that, and decided to take my camera, put it to use, because I've been using it as much as I would like, and go to Forest Park here in Queens, which is nearby where I live. And right now it's fall, it's the beginning of November, but when I did this was like 2 weeks ago, so mid-October, and it's fall. There's a lot of like leaves falling and cool colors and shit like that, and I had a day off and decided to take like half an hour, which doesn't sound like much, but it's, I guess, just like in the sense of actually like doing something and doing it, shaking things up a little bit, and not just sticking to the strict regimen of running errands and doing stuff like that, and just saying, last minute, like, fuck it, let me just go to the park. What else do I have to fucking do? It was like a Monday afternoon, early afternoon. And went to the park and took a bunch of pictures that came out pretty dope. I really like them. And they are located for your viewing pleasure on my website. It has all the other pictures that I like that I label photography. And you can check that out at spuntoday.com/photography. I think there's about 15 new pictures that I put up on there, all of which were taken at Forest Park. You'll notice them from fucking, all of them are like trees and leaves and like stuff like that. So whatever. I like landscape type pictures and shit, and they make for good like screensavers and stuff like that. If you guys want to check them out there, download them for free. And you can also check them out like on my Facebook page, facebook.com/spuntoday, or on my Instagram at spuntoday on Instagram as well. And all the pictures are on each of those platforms. And also, if you like any of them a lot and would like to help support the podcast, you can do so by going to crated.com, crated.com/spuntoday. And that's a site that I'm affiliated with that pretty much does like posters of my photography and or canvases, or if you want like a frame, and all different sizes, small, medium, large. And check it out. Prices are reasonable. And if you like them that much, you can order stuff from there. Or like I said, if you just want them like screensavers and shit like that for your phone or the desktop of your computer, you can, that's what I use it for. I have one as my screensaver right now, one of my screens of my computer. And not because of vain, but because I think the picture came out dope, and had other people's shit, pictures and stuff on my computer, why not my own? So yeah, you guys can download them for free if you like. But anyway, the moral of the story is, break out from your routine every once in a while and look around and enjoy it. Ferris Bueller would be proud. And just do different shit, or different things that you didn't otherwise have planned. And sometimes it works out for the best that way. So before going on to reading my posts that I wanted to reference in this episode, I want to read to you guys. I'm reading the book that I'm still reading right now because I don't read as much as I should, or as much as I want to. I don't make the time for it. But I am reading Tao Te Ching, which is Lao Tzu's book, which is known as the Book of the Way, which is a timeless guide to the art of living and fundamental to the Taoist school of Chinese philosophy. It's a collection of 81 pieces, I would call them. And it's insightful, dope stuff. Some of it is either over my head or just doesn't vibe with me. But some of it is just really dope. And there was two. I'm up to number 25 right now of 81. And it's like short stuff. You could literally, even I'm a fucking slow ass reader. I could probably read all 81 like in an hour or something like that, if that. But I don't. So I'm up to number 25. And there were two posts in particular that I was reading yesterday, or a couple days ago on the train. And I think it was yesterday, actually. And I wanted to share it with you guys. And let me know what you guys think. So let me just open it up here. Again, the first one I'm going to read is number 10, which is definitely one of my favorites now. And it goes, can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. That's some deep shit right there. That's pretty good. So that's number 10 from the Tao Te Ching. And I'm going to read the next one, which is number 17, which is really dope as well. And this one says, when the master governs, the people are hardly aware that he exists. Next best is a leader who is loved. Next, one who is feared. The worst is one who is despised. If you don't trust the people, you make them untrustworthy. The master doesn't talk, he acts. When his work is done, the people say, amazing, we did it all by ourselves. That was interesting on a couple different levels. And I really like that one as well. Check that out. Let me know what you guys think about those two specifically. Tao Te Ching, post number 10 and number 17. I'm sure you guys, if you guys, have it, obviously you can read it. If not, Google it. I'm sure it's readily available online as well. And that's pretty much it that I got for you guys today in terms of like intro stuff. And now, without further ado, and if you guys are excited, let's read a couple of free writing posts written by yours truly. And that's pretty much it. If you want to read along, go to spontaneity.com/free writing. Like I said earlier, these are more recent posts or pieces that I've written. I've been reading stuff from like up to 2 to 3 years ago that I wrote and decided to put on the website now, mainly because I didn't have a website 2 or 3 years ago. But I was pretty much starting with older shit. And I wrote these fairly recently, literally on, one of them was written on November 1st and the other one on October 30th of this year, 2015. And I don't know, I just felt like sharing these and not necessarily going in the same order that I was going in with pulling stuff out from older notebooks that I have. And let me know what you guys think. The first one again is like the blog post date is November 1st, 2015 for both of them. And the first one I'm going to start with begins with and continues as, I won't pretend to know how to solve problems that are so layered, rooted, and intertwined that sometimes the wrong answer is the right and vice versa. But not knowing the answer can't be an acceptable result. This is the point in time where even more attention to detail is needed, where a thorough breakdown of the issues are required. Put the foreseeable necessary band-aids in place and add a few more down the line as needed. And begin to unravel the issues enough to compartmentalize them into dissectable and manageable sections. Now you have digestible issues, albeit many in quantity, that you can begin to work on. It's a starting point that, if executed discerningly, can lead to a systemic correction of the issues. When all is put back together, you should be in a better place than where you initially started from. But if not, rinse, wash, and repeat until you are. And I wrote that on Friday, August 30th, 2015 at 7:49 a.m. Now, I don't remember exactly what I was watching, but I was watching something after before I wrote this, and it was, something having to do with the military in the Middle East and, drones and policy. Oh, it was one of the debates, actually. It was I think it was like the third Republican debate, which I caught portions of, because it was during one of the Mets games, and I was primarily watching that, and then like flipping back and forth, and I caught a couple pieces of it. Which, by the way, on a quick tangent, the part that stood out about that debate, or from what I saw, the most to me was Chris Christie actually flip out in an interesting way. Not flip out, but one of the moderator's questions were to a few of the candidates, what they think of sites like FanDuel and what's the other one, DraftKings and stuff like that, where you can like gamble pretty much online now legally when playing fantasy sports. And if I'm not mistaken, the loophole is that it's a game of strategy, not just blind gambling, like cards and stuff like that, which, you can make an argument that, poker and blackjack and stuff like that have strategy elements in them. But whatever. You can, legally, bet money and win money now, nationwide or whatever. There's no like ban on it or anything like that. And it's one of the questions that were asked to the candidates. And after like one or two of them answered, Chris Christie chimes in and he's like, "Are you serious? You're asking a question about fantasy football? We have ISIS, we have Iran, we have the economy to worry about, we have this and that," and rattled off a few of the big issues, real issues that are going on, and says, "And you're asking us about fantasy football? Are you serious right now? Let's talk about the real issues. Let's talk about blah 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 blah," which is pretty dope that he did that. I commend that, and I agree. And he was like, "Who cares about fantasy football? Let them play. Let them do whatever they want. Let's focus on the real issues." Some shit like that, he said, which is pretty cool. So I'll give him that one. It was refreshing to hear that from the right, or someone on the right. That type of shit. My bad, guys. I had to switch out the batteries in the MP3 player, which were running low. I didn't want to lose that portion of the episode, which I had already recorded. And I stopped the recording real quick so I could switch out the batteries. Okay, so yeah, back to what I was saying. So I wrote this after watching that and just thinking about really convoluted, hairy problems that, like the situation in the Middle East, which is, people are saying peace in the Middle East since fucking, the 60s, 70s, I don't even know. But for decades, and it's like an, unfixable issue, to the point that some people are just like, just nuke the whole shit, get rid of them all, start over, which is really fucked up. I shouldn't laugh at that. But that just goes to show how convoluted and fucked up the shit is, and it just never changes. It's always the same shit, Everybody's just fucking killing each other and shit over there, and it's nuts. And our foreign policy obviously doesn't work. It's been what, fucking 40, 50 years of trying to fix the shit, and maybe it's not ours to fix. Now Russia's dabbling in I think Syria now, and is it Syria? I don't know, but they're dabbling in trying to fix shit over there now as well, which is an interesting play. Trying to save face, I guess, and the global political view. But whatever, we've been trying so long, let somebody else give it a whirl and see what they could come up with, or let the rest of the world hate them for a change. But yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about, big, huge problems like that, and then started writing this and, free writing about just problems in general. And I think I know it's an approach that I use for things, which kind of seems sometimes like a long way to go about it. But I think it's effective. It's been effective for me in terms of my work, both my like 9 to 5 work, and this type of shit, like podcasting and writing, and just compartmentalizing and breaking things down. Like let me learn how to use Libsyn and figure out what that's about, and then after that, let me learn how to incorporate that into my website, and then let me learn how to use the MailChimp, newsletter subscription service, and then integrate that into my website, and do everything separately and learn everything separately, and then bring it all together to make it work. And dealing with iTunes, dealing with Stitcher, dealing with the other podcatchers, and just learning each like different platform separately. And like I said, it works for me in my 9 to 5. It works for me in like this type of thing. And I don't know if it could work on a small scale. Can it scale up to big, huge, hairy issues like those in the Middle East, which obviously would probably take years and years of unpacking and unraveling and compartmentalizing. But we're spending fucking decades on the situation anyway, so why not spend the next couple decades that it would take to fix it by just focusing on small incremental gains to the overall better big picture down the line, I guess. Would be like a utopian kind of view to the situation, but why not? So yeah, that's where that idea for that post came from, and I just started free writing about it, and then thinking about it from like that global big huge issue sense, and seeing how that kind of like applied to my way of thinking and how I at least try to handle shit in my own life, and found that interesting correlation. And all right, folks, I got one more for your asses before I let you go for this episode, and that is the next post, which is also posted on November 1st, 2015. And it states, this is the first post actually that's posted on the same exact date that it was written. Interesting. Okay. And it goes, there are different levels of reality. You know how they say perception is reality? That's one. Another level, or layer, if you will, would be that intent is reality. The true intent of one's actions or inactions. Sometimes shrouded in doubt, hesitation, fear, and or shame, lies how you really wanted to act, how you really wanted to be. That layer of reality that is known to you and often to you alone, that intent behind committing a crime. What is it? Let me backtrack a little bit. That layer of reality that is known to you and often to you alone. The intent behind committing a crime usually translates into adding a degree or two to a sentence. Yet positive intent translates into a void of what could have been. How do we make it so that our positive intent becomes our reality? Let's focus on those resistant factors that don't allow our intent to permeate into the realm of perception. Take yourself out of the equation objectively and make your decisions and subsequently your actions echo the sentiment of your intent. Let's change ourselves in this way, and in doing so, do our part in changing the world. Very fucking worldly lately. I don't know what's up with that. So yeah, I was just thinking of like that concept, how, perception is reality, and how, you are a, not a reflection, but you are your actions, not necessarily what you intend to do or want to do, or the point you want to get across. You are the point that you do get across. And it's happened to me, I would say, for the majority of my life. It's like I'm a like quiet introverted person. I like think and feel and want to say certain things, but I don't. And other people interpret that shyness for cockiness sometimes, and lack of engagement for lack of caring. And it could be in most of the situations it's like the exact opposite. And it's interesting how those, in my opinion, are like two levels of reality. And unfortunately, the reality that is actually has a direct effect on your life and the people around you that you care about, and I guess how you progress throughout your life, is the former. It's the perception of reality. That's what counts in many ways. And the goal, I guess, with not goal, but whatever the goal, I guess, with this piece is to highlight that fact and point out both to myself and to others that might go through the same thing at different parts or stages in their life, is to kind of, like I said there in part of it, which is take yourself out of the equation objectively and make your decisions and subsequently your actions echo the sentiment of your intent. So take yourself out of it. Tell yourself, okay, in this situation, the way I know I want to react is like this and like that. I know I want to say this. I know I want to do that. So instead of sitting back and not doing anything about it, or not saying what's on my mind, or not going the extra mile and helping the lady with the stroller up the stairs because I'm fucking too shy to engage with a stranger or something like that. Anything, for something trivial like that, to bigger things in your life. Take yourself out of it, get out of your own way, and trust in that intent, trust in that gut feeling, and go with it. Try it that way for a while and see how that helps change your life and the life of the people around you. And it's going to be in like little concentric, how do you say, concentric circles, little concentric ripples of circles that are going to permeate different levels and layers, from you in the center to the other people all around you in your life. And then it'll keep expanding, from them doing the same things, and so on and so forth. And eventually, like I said, in my grandiose way, begin to change the world. And that's all, folks. That's all I got for you this episode, number 33 of the Spun Today podcast. Again, I'm your host, Tony Ortiz. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I hope you guys got something from it, not necessarily just from my shit, like the stuff that I wrote, but all the other cool stuff that I mentioned that I stumbled upon that I thought that you guys might find interesting, such as the Reset.me website, the documentary, The Sacred Science documentary, the movie Chinatown, the Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, that cool YouTube channel, Top 10 Rules for Success from a shitload of successful people, which again is Evan Carmichael's YouTube channel. And that's pretty much it, folks. To help support the podcast, you guys can do so by rating and reviewing it and subscribing to it on iTunes, Stitcher. You can listen on Pocket Casts, which is another podcatcher. On where else? And that's like the best main way that you guys can help out if you choose to. I would really appreciate it. It helps the podcast gain exposure, and different people read reviews and stuff like that and base their listening choices largely on that. So it would help out if you guys can rate and review the podcast on iTunes and or Stitcher. And just tell friends and family about it, and coworkers and shit like that. It's something to listen to pass the time at work. That's what I do with a lot of the podcasts that I listen to. Put your earbuds in and go on about your day and listen to shit. People put you on to different things. I learn and hear about a lot of different things from a lot of different podcasts I listen to, from different books that I watch, to documentaries, to movies and shit like that. And similar to like all the stuff that I went over in this episode with you guys. What else? You can support the podcast financially by checking out that website that I told you guys about earlier, created.com/spun today. And you guys can purchase prints of my photography on there. You can also do so by just shopping on Amazon or iTunes. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. Just visit my website before you visit Amazon or iTunes to do your shopping like you normally do. And click on the affiliate links tab. And there you're going to see banners to Amazon and iTunes and stuff like that. Just click on them. It'll take you to those websites directly. And it doesn't cost you anything extra to just do your shopping like normal. And then just for going through the portal on my website, Amazon and iTunes will kick me back a couple pennies on the dollar just for driving traffic to their website. And that would be a big help for the podcast as well, and I would really appreciate it. And what else can you guys do? Check out the questionnaire on my website. There's a questionnaire for anybody who is, I guess, the creative type, or just has a hobby that you want to share with me and with other listeners of the podcast. It could be anything you're fucking into. It's a quick 5 questions. It's a free text field. You can remain anonymous if you'd like. But what I do with these is that I read your responses to the 5 questions on other episodes of the podcast, future episodes of the podcast. And it's pretty cool. We share tips with each other, and you learn things about other people's processes and stuff like that, whether it's writing or painting or whatever it is that you're into. It doesn't matter. And the questions real quick are relating. The first one is relating to your craft. Do you remember the first thing that you ever wrote or created? Second question is, what inspires you to write or create? The third question is, what is a hobby that you have that is unrelated to your craft? The fourth question is, how do you get yourself to sit down and do your work when you're not motivated to? And lastly, do you have any advice for other writers or creators, whether they're new, seasoned, or otherwise? And you have the option there to remain anonymous if you want to. And if not, all I'll be saying is like your name or something like that. So if you guys want to fill that out, you can do so at spuntoday.com/questionnaire. And let me know what you guys think. What else? I told you guys about the photos. Rate and review the podcast. You can listen, like I said, on a few different platforms like iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts. You can listen on my website at spuntoday.com/podcast. You can listen on Tumblr, spuntodaypodcast.tumblr.com. And you can listen on YouTube as well. There's a link to my YouTube page on my website. And, like the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/spuntoday. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Instagram at spuntoday. And sign up, subscribe to my newsletter, which is located on my website, as well as on my Facebook page. and I will hit you guys up when